So let's blaze through our bold predictions here. Question number 1, who will be first at the end of the split?
Easy.
Let's go Tyler first.
C9. No, don't move on. This is a joke of a question, Arda. Move on.
Well, you've been riding the C9 train ever since spring, and you can go back to any Rift to Rewind episode to hear all of Tyler's explanations. Let's go with Jacob.
They lose mid-tower for 11 points.
Yes, we know this. We all know this. So you're saying it's going to happen again in the summer?
Yes, C9, okay. Easy first.
Jacob, do you agree?
Yes. I there's nothing more to say. Yes.
Okay, Jacob agrees. Emily, do you agree?
Yep.
You agree as well? I'm the only one who didn't vote. Oh wow!
Wait, you didn't vote for C9?
Look at my pick. Look at my pick. Surprise!
Wow.
Surprise!
Okay. All right.
I'm jumping on the motivated double lift train. That's what I'm doing.
All right, Arda. Maybe they'll import Piosik next season when it doesn't work out.
If that's the case, they'll win Worlds. Let me tell you why very quickly. Because, like you said, Bjergsen double lift played together before. There's a lot of familiarity more generally between double lift and the team. However, double lift was, for whatever reason, whether it was he didn't want to play for the team after Worlds, or Brox's visa issues, or the pandemic, or whatever it is, or it just spring split and he doesn't care. All of that is gone now. All right? Like, obviously, we're still living in the pandemic, but all of those concerns are gone now. We know it's an online league. With summer now, double lift has a new team. All of those previous concerns that he had going into spring, they're all gone. So now he has to show up if he wants to win at Worlds, which is his ultimate goal. And a motivated double lift, for me, is the most dangerous player in the LCS. So for that reason, I will put my chips in the TSM pot and see exactly where TSM ends up at the end of the split.
I mean, I think from a talent perspective, Cloud9, this would be the argument. Cloud9 is better or equal at every single position as TSM.
But they'll play each other. I don't know how many times, at least twice.
I'm saying Spin is as good as double lift. Probably the only one I think that there's any. I think Niski has had a better time at least this past split than Bjergsen did. I think that Blabber is miles ahead of Spica. I think that Licorice and Broken Blade, Licorice is better, but not like that. That's a little bit more even. I think Vulcan's a lot better than Biofrost.
I actually disagree. I think very highly of Licorice, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
I think a motivated double lift, man. I'm telling you.
I think very highly of Broken Blade. So,
we'll see.
Yeah,
it's a long season.
This is going to be a fun storyline anyhow. Okay, who's going to make it to Worlds? Emily, let's start with you.
So I think I'm the only person who didn't pick TSM because every time I pick TSM, they always perform really badly. So I just kind of pick the top 3 teams. I think the big thing I want to talk about, and I'll get this over with now so I don't have to cover it later, but I'll be coming out with something in the next few days about Evil Geniuses and how they're going to kind of opt into trying to work a 7-man roster. And I think that's going to be really interesting to watch. And so whether EG make it, I think is really going to depend on how well they execute that. Because otherwise, I think really highly of FlyQuest. I think they have a lot of really good pieces. I think they make a ton of mistakes. If they can just shore up like a few of them, I think they can actually distinguish themselves from the pack of NA teams. And then the EG pick is, depending on whether they figure out their 7-man roster or TSM figures out their new lineup with double lift returning. But I did pick EG over them because every time I pick TSM, they lose.
All right, Jacob?
So I did buy into the TSM hype a little bit. Not that they would make it over C9, but that they will at least make it to Worlds, like I just said earlier. I do think that they're just talent-wise, like Double Lift and Bjergsen can put them through some of the teams in the LCS who are less stable than C9. I don't think they beat C9. I actually do think FlyQuest will be good, right? Like I believe in that roster, similar to how like Clutch Gaming qualified for Worlds last year. In the sense that like this is a good roster overall. They performed well. I do think they were a clear-cut second best. I think Evil Geniuses. I'm a little bit more down on the 7-man roster than Emily is as of right now. I I don't know. Like you sacrifice a lot in taking Bang out and putting Deathly in, so you can upgrade in top or arguably upgrade depending on how he actually plays, whether he's Huni of old or Huni of current. In terms of Huni over Kumo, right? Like, I don't know. I am inclined to believe that EG will not be able to hold that together in the same way, and that they're probably gonna have to land somewhere else. And to me, like, because Huni signed a deal that lasts through 2021, this is just like a kick the can down the road and be a really good team in 2021 when he is a resident and they can play him, Bang, and Jizuke all on the same team. Figure it out.
Chovy's a free agent. Who knows? Maybe he'll take the bag this time. Maybe.
Tyler, what are your picks?
I think that the Worlds qualification is so wide open where it's the top 8 teams qualifying into a tournament structure, and then you kind of decide from there. So I'm going to take the teams that I think are most talented, and I think that will work it out by the end of the split. So C9 is very easy. They should finish number 1. They should win their second title in a row. I do believe in Team Liquid. I'm the only one who believes in Team Liquid, I believe. Give me Broxah, give me Tactical. I think this is going to be a resurgence for Jensen. Watch Jensen in the split. I think he's going to be very high up there in the MVP vote. I think this is a split where he's really going to pop off. I do think Tactical is really, really good, and I want to see him succeed as a blue-chip prospect in NA because we don't have many of those. Blabber showed us that it can be done where a blue-chip prospect, matures into an MVP. So I want to see the same thing with Tactical. And then I'm going to go with TSM. I know they're going to bite me. I know this is going to bite me in a few weeks. I know it's going to blow up, and Speak is going to play Sejuani 12 games in a row, and Doublelift's going to leave and join FlyQuest or EG, or something's going to happen, and it's going to be a total drama fest, and everyone's going to laugh at me for believing TSM. But I don't believe in TSM junglers, but I do believe in the pairing of Doublelift and Bjergsen. I don't know how far they can go at Worlds. They probably get destroyed at Worlds, especially if the 4 Chinese and 4 European teams are now going to the World Championship. But I do think they have enough talent to make it there. And it's not going to be pretty when they get there, probably, unless they, Speaker really shows up and they do change their style and Doublelift really does come alive. But I do think they have enough talent to get there. It's a very messy field outside of Cloud9. I do think there's 5 or 6 teams that could go to Worlds, but I'm going to go with the talent route. I'm going to go TL, TSM, C9.
All I want is if and when Doublelift changes teams again, I want him to throw all of his past teams' jerseys in the garbage in succession. That's what I want. Like, here's the TSM, here's the Team Liquid. I just want them all one by one, just to complete the meme. It's like almost like a roundabout kind of way. I had the exact same teams, Tyler. I picked the 3 teams. I picked C9, TSM, and Team Liquid. I agree with everything you said there. I think that TSM is going to click a lot better than some people might think. I saw in the chat that Bjergsen and Doublelift are washed up. I disagree. I think that Bjergsen really came alive at many parts in the split and carried TSM on his back when he needed to. And now that he's going to be able to distribute that to guys like Doublelift, I think that a motivated Doublelift, like I said, is the scariest prospect in the LCS, and history does dictate that. So for those reasons, I picked the 3 teams as well, because C9 you would not bet against C9 in this situation, especially to make Worlds. Who will be crowned MVP? Emily?
I went with Licorice. I think this is Licorice's time, and if C9 is winning, I think more people need to log into that pro view and watch Licorice, because he's really smart about his laning. And I know it's been brought up on broadcast a few times, but he loses so gracefully that you don't even realize what's happening, which is probably why he doesn't get credit for it. I was on the Niski MVP train, and he was my MVP, my personal MVP pick for spring. If he wins it in summer, I'll be super happy as well, because I think Niski is a really strong player, and I think he does so much for his junglers, actually. But Licorice does so much for this team overall as well, and I think a lot of it goes unnoticed, and I want it to be noticed.
Tyler?
I agree with points of Emily, but I want to say, I guarantee if C9 finishes in first and they win, they win the championship or whatever, if they finish first, Niski's going to win MVP because he has the narrative going for him. And we know narrative can push MVP awards, because I think everyone's looking at, Svenskeren got his MVP. Maybe that was Niski. Niski did a lot of, he enhanced Svenskeren. Blabber won. Niski enhanced Blabber. I think the narrative is if C9 does once again get first place, I do think everyone's going to look at Niski and be like, wow, this guy has really brought this team to another level with the way he's playing, and I think they're going to reward him for that. So I do believe that if anyone from C9 is winning this award, it's going to be Niski, because I think the narrative is full behind him, unless, even I think Licorice or Sven or Vulcan would have to have just an amazing split. It's an incredible all-time split to beat out Niski, because he has all that momentum, and he does have his last two junglers winning MVP. So I do think if C9 finishes first, Niski will be our MVP.
Jacob.
I picked Niski also, and the reason I think Spring should have been his. No offense to Blabber. Blabber had every player on Cloud9 had a really good, incredible split, right? Think about Spin and sort of his hot streak at the very beginning of the season. He didn't die until I think game 6 or game 7, right? He had quite a lot going for him. All those players did. But I think Niski probably should have won in the spring, and I think he certainly will in the summer. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at him, all eyes on him, and I think if spring is any indication, he will have one hell of a split.
I would have agreed normally, but I did not pick Cloud9 to win the summer split. I picked TSM, and for that reason, here is my MVP. And you can feel free to debate me on whether I am right or wrong. Congratulations, Peter. You did it. You're the man. You are top of the world and taking your team to
Arda
worlds.
is pushing a very specific angle here.
It just looks good. It just looks good. Split MVP double lift. The face of the
It could
LCS
happen.
for how many? That's exactly
I'm
my point.
not ruling it out.
My point is, I picked TSM to come first in the summer split. Whether you agree with that, doesn't matter. Whether you think double lift is washed up, doesn't matter. I'm going to go back to my point. A motivated double lift is a very, very scary prospect. And if TSM come in first, no doubt in my mind that double lift is going to be the reason for that. He's going to be one of the major, if not the biggest contributor to that pot, and that's why I picked double lift, and also so that I could troll the chat. Okay, let's do this. We have a couple more. We are running up against time here, so what we're going to do is we're going to zoom through these as fast as we can. Biggest disappointment, Tyler, start with you.
Immortals, they've hit their ceiling. Not much improvement left. That's it. Move on. Boring answer. Boring team. Let's move on. Next question.
I feel like you can't be a disappointment if nobody expected anything from you in the first place.
They spent a lot of money on Smithy. They spent a lot of money on Smithy, so it's a disappointment. And they do have talented players like Soaz and Xmithy. I just don't think there's anywhere else they can go ceiling-wise unless they make moves. Which I believe Xmithy did say in a media day interview that there would be moves coming, but I just don't see a way where they're going to be that much of a surprise.
Here's some fresh reporting from yours truly. I don't think there will necessarily be changes. I think that they will be using academy players rotationally. There's your spice.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So then we'll move on.
There you go. I don't think there's big player changes though coming for Immortals.
Okay, more breaking news, Jacob. What's your biggest disappointment?
That would be Evil Geniuses. As I alluded to earlier, I think a lot of people are going to expect a lot out of them. Acquiring Huni is a huge deal, but I don't think the trade-off is worth it. Putting Huni in and putting Deathly in instead of Bang and playing Kumo. I get that that's what they're trying to do, but I think the way I took biggest disappointment was taking sort of the expectation other people have for them versus how they will actually perform, and I think Evil Geniuses will perform worse than people expected them given their big mid-season acquisition of Huni.
Yeah, do we call them evil Hooniuses now, or is it Huni geniuses? What are we calling them?
Hoa.
Emily?
So I similarly took biggest disappointment, in the same way that Jacob did, and that's why I picked TSM, because I think TSM have put themselves in a position with the Double Lift acquisition that they really need to basically be a finalist and or win a title. And if that doesn't happen, then I think they will have considered this acquisition, especially with all of the stuff that followed, a disappointment. And that is because I think they've just put themselves in a position where the expectations are really high. This has to pay off. And if it doesn't, in the form of at least being a finalist, if not winning a title, or you have to qualify for the World Championship, basically, they will then be the biggest disappointment.
My biggest disappointment is Dignitas. I think that extends to the spring as well. They had high hopes with that Hooney signing, and everyone at this point, I mean, that looks like one of the most lopsided contracts in League of Legends history, if not the most lopsided at this point, just given the results that were yielded from that contract. And now they basically have to rebuild from the ground up, looking for diamonds in the rough if they can even find it at this point. So it's going to be a very rough summer. Hopefully for them, they'll be able to, the players that they bring on, at least have some sort of respective showing. But for now, at least today on paper, for me, it's Dignitas as the disappointment. The last category is biggest surprise / dark horse. Let's start with Tyler.
Tactical TL, I believe in them. Tactical will finish top 3, all-pro AD carry the split. Guaranteed. No way he's not top 3. That's my bold prediction.
Hey, last time you bet on a young, last time you bet on a young AD carry, North American AD carry, you owe Avali May some time to dye your hair now. So
it was close.
Mince your words.
It was
carefully,
very close.
It
It was really close.
for MVP.
That was spring. This is summer. I'm on the tactical train, baby. Choo choo. Top 3 AD carry. Here we come.
Okay, here. How about this? Will Tactical be the MVP? And if he isn't, will you shave your head?
No, I will. I'll make this bet. I'll make this bet. Who cares? Who cares? I'm a wild guy. If Tactical doesn't make top 3 AD carries in the pro ballot, so all LCS
Okay.
top 3,
Okay.
if he doesn't make at least the 3rd team, I will get during the World Championships. I will get an esports related tattoo on my arm.
You already have an esports related tattoo
You
on
also
your arm.
already tweeted that you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
No,
like-
no.
You mean that?
What kind of bet is that? Oh boy.
You'll make me do this thing that I said publicly I want to do already.
That's my bet. Let's move on. Tactical top 3. The tactical train is a chugging. Just wait. A few more weeks, you'll see.
All right,
Choo-choo, tactical train.
Jacob.
I'm betting on Tactical, not that much. I'm not shaving my head. Nothing. I'm not saying he'll be top 3 pro, but I think that Liquid actually will. I think a lot of people are going to be down on Liquid because of how they performed in the spring. I think Liquid will be a playoff team. I don't think they'll qualify for Worlds, but I think they'll be pretty close. I could see them regaining their 4th place spirit as previous before. But yeah, I think Liquid will actually be pretty good relative to what people may think they will be.
Emily?
So I picked Evil Geniuses with the provision that their 7-man roster actually works out. I think 7-man rosters are actually really tricky to execute because I think you have to have like a really strong internal discussions like pretty consistently to make sure that people understand that they're not necessarily being subbed out for performance reasons, but sometimes it's meta reasons, sometimes it's playstyle reasons, that kind of thing. So while I think that's incredibly difficult, and while I don't necessarily trust that UG will be able to do it, I think if they can figure it out, then they will be a very interesting dark horse to watch.
I actually also picked Evil Geniuses, and my provision is that we see the Evil Geniuses from last March, where they went on an absolute tear, and Jizuke was the Italian stallion, and that really propelled them to make the playoffs. If we see that version of Evil Geniuses, I do think that they will surprise a lot of teams in the LCS, and they will become playoff contenders. So that was my provision as it pertains to Evil Geniuses.